There we go. And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a Wednesday afternoon. It is not 2:30 p.m. Imagine that. It's not 2:30 p.m. It's 1 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. Innovation Fika with me, Donny. Innovation Fika, as you know, my Wednesday show, live broadcast with a live audience, sometimes actually a live audience here at Technique in One, which is KTH, the big innovation center at KTH where I work. Usually I have a live audience in here as well, which is great. But today we're doing the whole online studio thing. I'm in the studio though, and I'm soon to introduce the guest of the day. But first, just a very brief thing saying that as you come online, please let us know who you are, where you're from, and as always, ask questions, fire away. That's why we're doing it live. We're doing it live so we can interact with everybody out there. My name is Donny. As I said, I work here at KTH, which is the biggest tech university in Sweden. And this is my sort of own pastime favorite part of the week, my innovation fika. Fika meaning, of course, coffee break in Swedish. My innovation coffee break, where I get to spend 30 minutes with some superb people, cool guests, cool ideas, and talk about how they got where they are or where they are going as well. And also always some key learnings for all of us online. That's a big part of the whole show, is them actually inspiring us and teaching us, and yeah, always something to take with from the show. So that's probably enough about me and the show. All of the recordings are on YouTube. So after today, you will have 114 recordings on YouTube of this show. And then all of my written content is on Medium. Haven't been writing for a while because I've been super busy traveling the world. And traveling the world, I found myself in Seattle. And I saw this person on stage, and I thought to myself, I need this person on my show. She made a great impression. She's doing some great stuff. A really, really good business idea. Not only a good business idea, but also a good business idea. We'll get back to that part of it as well. So it is my great pleasure to, without any further ado, why does everybody always say without further ado? Everybody says that. I'll stop saying that. Anyway, now I don't know what to say. Here's Pippa. Anyway,
without further ado.
Look at that. From Norway. Are you in Oslo?
I am finally in Oslo. I've been traveling like you all over the place, and I'm finally here to celebrate the summer solstice in this amazing Oslo.
That's awesome. So you're in Oslo. You're going to celebrate the summer solstice, which is today in Oslo as well, which is a great place to celebrate it. So you will happily not see the sunset.
Very happily. And you know why? And we'll get into this, because this means there's more hours of daylight to be outside playing and having fun.
Exactly. And this is like the core discussion today, is getting out of the office, both as a startup CEO and entrepreneur, but also get out of the office as to become more active. Because I know that the startup that you are heading up, the startup you're the CEO of, has been created to encourage and increase activity amongst kids using tech and gamification, right?
That's right. Yeah, we're called Playfinity. I'm the lucky one who gets to lead the founders and commercialize the business and scale globally. And we were founded by 5 dads who really had the urgency to keep their kids active, because as you know, being where you are, you know, the Scandinavian countries have quite an active and outdoor lifestyle, but we are also suffering here from increase of screen time for kids, which is increase of inactivity, and really needing to find ways to keep kids active outside and engaged in sports, which is important. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I think that's a fantastic mission and vision. But I forgot my first question. Pippa, who are you and what do you do? We know kind of what you do, but go back to the who are you thing.
Who am I? Yeah, so as you saw in my presentation in Seattle, I'm a good old Canadian country gal. So I grew up in Canada in the middle of nowhere on tons of land, which sometimes as a teenager, I was frustrated because I couldn't get out and see my friends because it was so far. But now in hindsight, it inspired me to be a very active, outdoorsy, creative person. So I'm full of energy and love being out and about. Out and about, as we say in Canada.
Yeah, exactly, the Canadian one, of course. Yes, of course.
Yeah, and I've lived and traveled and worked all over the world, and I'm really excited to now be based in Oslo, Norway. Worked in the IoT space for 10 years, so really sort of within the exciting times of IoT and smart home. I was working within that industry, and then came over to Playfinity in October. And my sweet spot is commercializing businesses. So I get into companies when there's no, I would say, commercial team or strategy, with all due respect to many founders. Great ideas, but how do we actually take them to market? So that's when that's my sweet spot. So I joined Playfinity in October as the CEO, and it's a ton of fun.
Ton of fun, but also super important, because I mean, we've had some GTM people on the show before when they're talking about, but they've been more talking about early stage strategies for, just form startups, and how do we then go to market. You're more of the, I mean, you do that as well, of course, but I mean, what you're doing now is hands-on getting to market.
Definitely.
And what are yours? Let's just run through this as well. What are your some of your best tips or tricks or things to think about when it's actually getting it out there? Because one of my favorite sort of pet peeves is you have this thing and people say, we're finished, we released the website, and I'm going, no, you've just started.
Yeah. I mean, I think it sounds so basic, but I think one thing that I see that isn't actually done is literally sitting down and scoping out, a go-to-market strategy by channel. So for instance, if it's B2C, right? Is it retail? Is it e-com? Is it distributors? Like, really, what does that whole market encompass? And, even by country, because every country works completely differently. So really the bare bones of scraping together this plan that you can then figure out how to attack is always really important. And focus, right? Everyone wants to say they can do everything for everyone and we're so great and everyone should love us. But that means nothing to the end customer. So making sure that you have a clear that you can clearly state why customer A should care about who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because once you have that, right, then it's my favorite thing, which is how we met. Getting in the market, being in the field, being on the ground, pitching, talking, and getting feedback of how people are interpreting what you're saying.
I have to second that, because this is so overlooked. And I meet so many people who are looking out the window, figuratively speaking, and they're seeing other people like on the market going, oh, they're not half as good as we are. And if people only knew how good our tech is and all of that. And I'm going, yeah, but who is out there actually doing it? Nobody else out there knows how good your tech is, because it's not out there. It's in here. They're just seeing what they're getting out there. So you have to be there. You have to leave the office. You have to get into it.
And another part of it, Tony, that is really important, that, I mean, let's just, for sake of conversation, let's talk about, a B2C company, right? If you're focusing on the US and you're not in the market, you can't even see the ads that are on buildings. You can't listen to the ads that you can't actually see what other companies are doing in that market. And to really be integrated and start to live and breathe that market and see what else is happening is just, it's priceless. You can't do that unless you're actually in it.
I know, and you have to. I feel we kind of agree with each other here, but the whole thing of becoming what we talk about here, we say you need to become street smart in your own domain. I mean, you need to know the movers and shakers and how it goes, and because you don't want to pitch your thing to somebody and they go, yeah, but what about these and that, and what about the new regulation over there? And you're going, I don't know about that. Well,
exactly.
You're like, next, So
exactly.
Okay, so what else do you, when you're moving Playfinity into the market, what else?
Yeah, so the other thing, I think surrounding yourself with people who completely support you and who are your cheerleaders, but also who challenge you, right? I think there's so much value in both of those, especially when you're a smaller company and you're kind of wearing a million hats. you need to have others who can come in and challenge you, but also help you guide your way, whether it's a mentor, whether it's just other people within the industry who are really embracing what you're doing and helping you learn those ropes, right? Learn about all that legislation, learn about all those competition, all those competitors, and take risks. Don't get stuck in this sort of analysis paralysis. Should we, shouldn't we, why, what are all the reasons? Learn fast, fail fast. We hear about it all the time, but I can't say enough how important it is to just constantly learn, do whatever it takes to get out there and learn.
That was a quote. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. That is, that's the keeper. That is so good, because we can always over-engineer things and never leave the office, and we can overanalyze everything and never get anywhere. It's just a matter of getting it done, just doing it.
Exactly.
100%.
And I think that's where, what I initially said about sort of drafting out your go-to-market and the channels and opportunities, and, who are the key opportunities within those markets that you can try to get to, so that at least, you have a path for taking these risks. It's not like you're just sort of like doing anything, but at least what you're doing is following, a path to either learn from or validate and move forward with it.
Yeah. And another thing you actually said, but not in those words, was, you know what? There will always be enough naysayers. There will always be people that will be saying, it's never going to work, you're not going to make it, either because they're not the target group, or they don't believe in the idea, or they just simply don't like you, or they don't want you to succeed. There'll always be people like that. Those aren't the ones you want to surround yourself with. Those aren't the ones that will give you any energy. So, it's like, I compare it to when I'm talking to an audience, like I'm giving a talk. There's always a guy, right? Sitting there, and that guy has decided before he went in the room that I'm not going to like that person on stage. They've decided that. So you won't win them over in 15 minutes. Forget about them. Look at the ones that are going, I'm with you, and work with them. Work with the people that are supporting you and build on that. And then the other naysayers, they can come along late laggards into the game once they realize that you have to join the winning party anyway. So
and they're going to always be there, right? You'll always find them. They're always going to be there. Well, you should do this, and you should do this, and you should do this, and why not this? And they're always going to be there. So and you need them as well. Let's not downplay that challenge, but it's about balance.
I know it's about balance. I know my sister, she bought an old wooden boat together with 2 other people, just to make sure to actually get out of the office, because it needed a lot of upkeep, and they were like every weekend they were like sanding it and like that. And there was this old guy who had the boat beside them, and he was sitting in a deck chair, watching them. I mean, hours on end, and he was going, "I wouldn't do it like that if I were you. That's never going to work. I don't know what you're thinking about now." I know. And like this crazy thing. Let's see. Okay, look at this. Hi, comments here from Diana. Very true. You will not win all the people in the room. Indeed. Thank you for commenting, Diana, as well. Everybody else online, comments, questions. Ask. You've got Pippa live here. I mean, this is a unique opportunity to ask her the down into the details here. Well, I have questions now for you, Pippa, regarding the actual startup that you're heading up, Playfinity, because you're actually doing a very important thing. You're actually trying to sort of, let's say, reactivate kids or activate kids then.
Yes.
Tell us a bit more about that. How are you doing that?
Yes. So we are, in plain words, we're gamifying traditional sports to keep kids active. So I know for some people it's like, aren't sports already games? They are, but the gamification side is the part where that's what kids and frankly adults as well. Gamification keeps us engaged, right? We're living in a digital world. I'm preaching to the choir here. This is an innovation podcast, but 70% of kids are dropping out of sports by the age of 13. This is fundamentally a very big problem for the mental and physical health of kids, but also for the sporting industry. If it's actually, we're almost hitting 80% of kids now, because those numbers were pre-COVID that I give, but If 70 to 80% of kids are dropping out of sports by the age of 13, what happens in 15 to 20 years when we've got so few people who are engaged in sports in general? They're not fans. They're not parents or adults or brothers and sisters who are trying to inspire others to be in sports. They're not involved in sports at any level, because if you don't get engaged as a kid, you rarely will continue that type of lifestyle. So just from the sporting industry in general as well, it's a really big problem. So we are speaking to kids in a language they understand, which is avatars, leaderboards, gamification, and we are digitizing traditional sporting equipment. So this is one of our products. This is a gaming baseball, which is regulation size and weight of a real baseball that you would find, well, mostly in North America, but all around the world. It's full of sensors. This connects to an app that's full of games, and then you can play with all the other kids around the world that also have this baseball. So the stickiness of gaming that's happening, we're using all those gaming mechanics, but with physical sports.
Cool. And I have a question from the side here for you, because I mean, I have a long history of developing actually online things for kids as well. And one of my sort of more fun experiences is that whatever you design for them, they'll use for something else.
Yes.
So are you seeing new games being invented by users of your products?
Definitely. And that's actually a really fun part of our experience, is that, and just like in gaming, right? You have games that are already there for you to play. They're set. You can make your own games, and you can have challenges with all the other players in the ecosystem. We did our first official North American launch at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January. And there we launched 2 new games, which were off the back of what we were seeing kids were actually creating themselves in the app. So we did a speed test. So 10 throws, really testing your speed, and then ground ball. So that's something you practice a lot in baseball practice. And all of our games are for 1 or 2 players. So we're not gamifying a full game of baseball.
No, okay.
We're just creating games for 1 or 2 players that they sort of already know about from practice, right? So different types of catch, and throwing it high and throwing it low and throwing it fast, and ground ball, etc.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you have a baseball, and what else? Other products that's coming out?
So we have a baseball. This is our very first product, actually, which was inspired from handball here in Norway. Yeah. So this is called the Smart Ball. It's soft and it's squishy. This is for the little ones to learn how to throw and play catch. This is actually what sparked the baseball, because baseball coaches were like, "Oh, we've seen this ball. This is so cool," because
okay.
So kids can throw more. They can practice throwing. Donnie, we see kids now who don't know how to throw and don't know how to run by the time they're teenagers, because they aren't just out there playing. So this is for the younger ones. We also use these in hospitals for recovery time and wait time and physical therapy with kids. They're really enjoying this. And this is super fun. This goes around your ankle, and we've totally gamified jumping on the trampoline. So, yeah. So we have 1 kid that hit 1 million jumps in December. I mean, think about that. That's a lot of jumps. And there we have games, for instance, Tornado, which is in 30 seconds, how fast and how many times can you spin? So really just turning the trampoline into an arcade is what we like to picture it as.
Yeah, well, I like the combination of but the importance of getting kids outdoors, and not only outdoors, but also in one sense, you want them to also let go of their screens, but they won't. So you might as well work with the screens as well.
Exactly.
I had one very scary story from a kindergarten teacher that I know. They had this new bunch of kids in, and they were taking them out for a walk in the forest. And there was this one little child who didn't dare leave the path and walk out into the grass, because they'd never ever walked on grass.
Wow. Yeah.
It was afraid of what is this green stuff kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what you're saying, kids that don't know, I'm not saying that throwing a ball is something you need on your CV, but it's just natural movement of playing around.
It's hand-eye coordination. It's hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
It's team spirit. It's learning how to play. All these things that playtime introduce into your life from a young age, play and sports, these help us develop so much of who we are as people, right? Our mental strength and our physical strength. And these aren't happening anymore for many, 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 many kids. And we even in Scandinavia, again, we're very lucky in terms of the support system that we have in schools and in the community for sports. You look at some schools in North America, they don't even have sport physical ed anymore. They don't even have sports teams. They don't have the budget for it. They don't have teachers for it. They don't have equipment for it. It's fundamentally a very big problem in society.
It is a big problem. And you're making my head explode here, because we know that physical activity increases brain capacity and brain productivity. We know that being fit and healthy and will also increase our productivity in work as well, and creativity as well. So we know that. Yeah. And yet we completely, it's such. But a question.
And I need. Yeah, and I need to touch on a point that's it's hard to talk about, but it's our reality, right? Depression, envy. There's so many side effects of screen time that are really impacting kids.
Yeah.
And we know that physical health helps fight depression and all these, right? So we need to have this balance coming back into our lives where, I mean, nobody can say that going out and being active has made them feel worse, right? Even just going out for a walk. It just stimulates.
In the physical sense, as you stress and you build up stress hormones in your body, you need to de-stress, and that is just by walking or just by physical activity. Yeah. Because your body, it doesn't make a difference of being stressed for an exam or being stressed by being chased by a lion. The same.
Yeah.
The same
we
thing
need to get out.
Exactly. So we need to burn it off, and we need the physics. I mean, the best way of combating stress is take a walk and breathe and we can talk about this all day. We can talk about this all day.
Yeah, we could, but also we also need to look at sort of obesity, diabetes amongst kids.
That's on the rise everywhere. That's on the rise everywhere.
Everywhere. So we need to get kids active, whatever whether it's with Playfinity, whether it's with other organizations, whatever it is, to inspire and empower people, but kids to be active is critical for our future. Yeah.
Let's just take a question here. And we could go on over this all day. I know.
We could. I want a really long fika. Like what's the average fika?
We can fika all day, you and me. Don't worry about that. From Sai Krishna here. Hi, Donnie and Pippa. How do you find the correct pricing for the value offered? Do you face any difficulties? How do you work with that?
Really good question. So on our consumer side of our products, you buy the hardware and there's no subscription, there's no ads, there's no fee in the app. So we are always kids first is one of our core values. We want the app to be a safe place for them to be. So we have actually no issues with our pricing when it's clear that the app is free. And this is $99 US, so 1,000 kroner. Well, now it's a little bit different with the currencies, but at the end of the day, I think parents, coaches, teachers, the industry, people are desperate, and $100 to get a kid out throwing, or 790 kroner to get a kid out jumping for hours on end. The value is there for certainly seeing the kids being active.
I like that approach as well when it comes to what you get is, you see what you get in the pricing. There's no hidden, that's not like laden with ads or bloatware or things that come up and say, oh, you start paying for this. And so I think that's a very healthy approach as well. Because but you're trying to do a healthy thing. So I like that.
Yeah, we really care about the players, right? We want to make it a safe space.
And the thing is, I'll tell you what, let's bounce off the last comment you had on obesity and diabetes and everything that's sort of kind of going the wrong way, and let's just end this on a positive note, saying, so what can we do all together to get a more active world going. And I know that
Yes.
I know that you sent me, here's Pippa's top 3 tips for getting active, both yourself and people around you. And so, I mean, tip number 1 then, here, lower the pressure. 5 minutes is a good start. Could you elaborate on that one, please?
Yes. So I'm a runner. I run every day. People ask me how I get the motivation to do that. Because what I do, I put my clothes out and I say, even if I go for a 5-minute walk, the point is I never, ever regret it. Never do I come home from, and I always end up running. Never do I come home from a run and think, oh, that was horrible. You always feel great. So say you're just going out for a 5-minute walk. If that's what it is, do it. Lower the threshold to just get active. The hardest part of getting to the yoga studio or the gym or getting outside is just getting there. And once you do it, it's easy. So lower the threshold.
Indeed, and I practice that myself, because I always pick a gym or a training place which is between home and work, so I don't have to take a long detour to go anywhere.
Yes.
I know that it's kind of in my way, so I can sort of stumble into the gym or stumble into whatever I'm going.
Yeah.
If I'm going there anyway, so make it as lower the pressure, lower the thresholds, just make it as easy as possible to just fall into it.
And truly remember, you're never going to regret it, ever.
No.
You never regret being out. You never do. Fine, maybe your legs hurt because of muscles, but that's a good feeling.
Yeah. There's a very Nordic quote expression, which is not Nordic, but it's a good quote. Let's say it's a Nordic one. The best, I'm going to try and translate it word by word here, but it's the best training session is the one that you do.
Yeah. I love it. I haven't heard that. That's great.
Just do it. Just do
whatever. Just do it.
Yeah. So, clip number 2, get good enough gear.
Yes. And again, this actually is another Nordic quote. No such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing, right? And get decent gear so that you actually feel good in what you're doing. I mean, it's, go, and I understand there's pricing variations here, but it's, there's a threshold for feeling good in what you're doing. And I don't mean feeling good in terms of a fashion sense, but you don't want clothes that are too big or too small. Just get the right gear for what the activity is. And it makes a world of a difference because you're not worried about being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Perfect tip. Good enough gear. I like that.
Yes.
And then the 3rd tip here, participate in multiple activities. And I know it's also surround yourself with people, that part there.
Yes. So I think this is also important. And this is, again, where Scandinavia is really good. But you see in many countries where they just are like, you have to be the best at this one activity. And that puts so much pressure and it's so difficult to then participate. So just participate in various activities, surround yourself as well. Meet people who are doing various activities, because all of a sudden you find yourself more inspired to do certain activities when you're with people who are doing them anyway. And I can, perfect, quick personal example, if I can do it, is my fiance morning runs. When we first met, he wanted to rip my hair out every morning, but slowly he got used to it. And now he loves it because, it was sort of a low pressure to get out and do it, but you had someone motivating you, right? So find good people around you and participate in various things.
I think both of them, both having again, it comes back to what you were talking about as an entrepreneur as well. The naysayers will always be there, right? They'll always be there.
Yes.
So you have to actually also try and find the ones that give you the energy and help you do what you're trying to do. That's really important. So that goes for this as well, of course. And then to your other point, I will actually pick another example here from Sweden. The Nils van der Poel, the skater, who won in 1 year double Olympic gold medals in speed skating, double world champion medals in world speed skating, and then he published his manifest. It's a 100-page manifest of how he trained to become the world's best speed skater. In world championship, 2 distances, gold medal, and Olympics, same year. And it was like, well, you know what? I went mountain biking, I went hill climbing, I did some running, I did some weightlifting. I did some skating as well. but his whole manifest was about the holistic approach to having a fully functioning body, having fun,
Absolutely.
becoming fit by having fun and enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it took him all the way.
Yeah.
So
It's
And
yeah,
that
it's a really
manifests,
it's a really good point. And again, so this ball became really popular because they were saying that, the kids who are really into baseball and they only start practicing really hard the first day of practice for the season because all they think about is baseball, and then they end up hurting their arms because they're not doing other things throughout the time to train, and then all of a sudden they throw 300 balls and they hurt themselves. So this whole idea of like participating in various activities throughout the year overall is better for the body anyway. So
of course. I mean, one of my favorite stories from the US, and I don't mean this, I mean this said with all the love in my heart, of course. One of my favorite stories is when Nintendo Wii released in the US, with you could actually, it was activating people in front of the screen. People actually sent emails to Nintendo complaining about soreness. This was a crappy game. I was sore for days afterwards. And I sort of, well, that's kind of the training, physical exertion part coming into play. And they were like, I've never had this pain before. I don't know what's wrong with me. Nintendo, your game sucks. It was like, whoa. So
I haven't heard that. That's that's interesting.
That's one for you then. Okay.
Yeah.
We're actually past the half-an-hour market. It is the world's fastest half an hour, but this is just me having the opportunity to show the world the wonderful people I get to meet when I'm traveling. And I'm so happy that you could join me today, Pippa. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Next time in person.
Sorry?
Next time in person.
Next time, yes, next time when you're in Stockholm or whenever I'm in Oslo or in Canada or wherever we'll do it in person. We'll do a new show, follow up, and we'll go into depth in all the questions again. Thank you, everybody online. I know there's a lot of people watching online that haven't asked questions, but connect with Pippa on LinkedIn, follow her on LinkedIn, Playfinity on LinkedIn, and get active. 5 minutes is enough. Good enough gear is okay. And just play around with multiple things. That's all you need to do. Get active and help the world become more active. For God's sake, we need it. The future needs it. Our creativity needs it. Thanks, Pippa.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.